For the most updated version of the Glyphs RPG blueprint, tokens, accessories and resources, please visit www.glyphsrpg.com. Also visit 2ddice.com for our internationally popular D20 RPG coins and our other masterful coin
Hi, I'm
works.
C.W. Smith, author of the Glyphs RPG Blueprint and inventor of the popular 2D Dice coins, which are available at 2ddice.com. So first off, I just want to say thanks for checking out the blueprint and the token system. My objective today basically is to help simplify the barrier of entry for those of you that are new to using the blueprint, GMs and players alike. I must say overall I've had pretty good success introducing this new RPG system, and those running and playing it absolutely love it, by the way, especially because of its flexibility and fun factor. There are some folks, however, that find it a little bit overwhelming or complex with the rules and mechanics, or they may be a little too intimidated by the glyphs themselves, and especially the system's Oracle style approach, which does require an understanding of the glyph symbols. So my intent right now is basically to demystify the Glyphs RPG Blueprint's seemingly complicated facade, and just show you how simple it is to apply in practice. Most importantly, how much fun it can actually be to play or create content for. So, in addition to the resources that are available on the website, I've created simple video tutorials corresponding to each of the 26 chapters in the blueprint, basically to walk you through the whole thing step by step. What exactly is Glyphs? Well, Glyphs is a universal RPG system that allows you, the user, to create any content, character setting with ability and ease. It's a customizable blueprint that provides the essential mechanics and content needed to create your own RPGs. It's actually much more than that, though. You see, I set out to create the system completely from the ground up with the intent of making something that basically shares much in common with conventional RPGs, and yet gives another experience entirely. For one, Glyphs does away with dice, and instead uses a pair of grids and a challenge coin that I call the token as its resolution system. Okay, the token system and the piece used does two things. For one, the token's physical appearance incorporates a dexterity mechanism that requires players and GMs alike to actually hit certain targets within a grid in order to execute attacks, skills, and special abilities. So this allows you for true control over your characters or monsters if you're GMing, and amplifies the game's fun factor. Okay, so basically you literally have a skill versus skill dynamic occurring, player versus GM, literally. GMs greatly benefit because, unlike dice, the token can store much more information through numbers and symbols, which are used in context-sensitive situations. So the endless potential for randomly generated numbers and variables is actually done in real time. So Glyphs is essentially a fun and flexible RPG that thinkers and creators can easily learn and teach others. So customize, hack, and skin your realities and characters to your liking. Okay? Glyphs is a bare-bone universal system that's not partial to any reality paradigm. Create your content from scratch or emulate your favorite settings and content. Okay? You can use this system as a standalone experience, or you can even blend it with other rule systems for a more immersive approach to your favorite games. Okay, so basically, Glyphs offers something to just about anyone. So, what was my purpose in creating Glyphs exactly? Very simple. Basically, I just wanted to create a truly universal RPG system with a higher fun factor and greater player immersion than traditional RPGs have. So basically what I'm trying to say, we've been playing RPGs roughly the same way for the last 40 years or so by basically interpreting random numbers on dice. So I aim to offer an alternative way to play that encourages player and GM skill. Glyphs offers players the freedom of creating virtually any content they wish, or emulating their favorite influences by providing the absolute raw mechanical framework that you would find in an RPG. So after much experimentation, I basically strayed away from dice entirely and developed the token system from scratch using glyphs used in the glyph system, basically to boost player immersion, okay, and to try to minimize the referencing process as much as possible. The token incorporates a dexterity mechanism, which gives players and GMs more control over their characters, like I've mentioned. More so, the aspect of random generation relies on the interpretation of random context, which basically, using this token, everything is done in real time and fairly seamlessly once you get the hang of it. Here are some things to consider about Glyphs. It might look like a lot to take in, but it's actually, it does assume sort of a minimalist approach to content, and instead focuses on providing a wide assortment of mechanical options and some common glyph interpretations. Okay, so this gives you utmost flexibility. So what I tell folks, players should approach Glyphs as an entirely new experience, and they are expected to use the system to create their own content. That's what it's designed for, essentially. Okay, so the default content provided in the book is there for your convenience, especially towards the character creation part. So I sort of liken the Glyphs as a toolbox or a set of building blocks, if you will. That's basically what it is for RPGs. So it is intentionally different than every other RPG on the market because I've been striving to create an entirely new gameplay experience, which so far has been exceptionally fun and quite addicting for all the gamers playing it that I've got. So don't expect another D20 clone. Okay, this game does require some reading as opposed to simply skimming over it, and it does require a mind open to some new concepts. Okay. However, despite all that, it's actually very simple in practice. So the rule of thumb I tell folks all the time, don't overthink it too much. Okay, characters do level up in a nonlinear fashion, so EXP is awarded for the specific metric used. So like I tell folks, not all characters are created or developed equally. Okay, the damage and combat system is a little bit more realistic, so that does compel players to make more strategic decisions instead of simply whittling away at monstrous hit points. Okay, that is intentional. Yes, it uses a special token rather than dice. This is a good thing. Okay, the token, once you get the hang of it, it generates infinite permutations of random context on the fly, and it does incorporate a dexterity mechanism. Basically helps regulate the success and failure of an action simply than leaving it to the fate of dice alone like we have been for so long. Okay, so yes, the book is also free in its digital format. Okay, I did it so where customers weren't feeling like they weren't being double dinged and also having to buy a token to play the game. So that was one reason. The main reason, though, is I want people to explore and share the game. So making it free was ideal and made sense to me to do. Now, additionally, you will see that the character sheets and grids can be downloaded for free and printed at your convenience. Glyphs was created with 3 basic types of people in mind. The first are simply gamers who like maximum character creation freedom and more control over their character's actions. Okay, the second that I would consider are GMs who have a little bit stronger game design mindset and who want to customize their characters and their campaigns and other content from scratch, or if they want to emulate their favorite content using the token system's mechanics. So if you or your group has made a homebrew game before, or if you like tweaking systems that are already out there, or if you like simply the freedom of making your own RPG, then the Glyphs is definitely for you. Okay, I've actually even heard of some GMs out there using the Glyphs system for more short story style adventures, and some even using it for LARPing if that's your sort of thing. So there's something for everybody, just about. Okay, the third type are people who are actually new to tabletop role playing and who want more of a board game style interface. So Glyphs is definitely the perfect gateway game by far. Okay, players can create virtually any type of character or ability that they can think of. Okay, all they need is a very minimal understanding of the rules, and they can literally jump in pretty seamlessly and start playing within minutes when their character's created. Okay. The token provides a very fun experience because it largely relies on the dexterity mechanism to regulate the success or failure of their character's actions. And most other checks are done at the mere spin of the token. Okay, very straightforward stuff. GMs have hundreds of pages of rules and mechanics, many of which are optional that you can use as you see fit. Glyphs attempts to give you the tools that you need to make any campaign settings. Okay, so it is a true bare bones universal system that does have some pretty solid default content included. So Glyphs is very deceivingly simple in practice and lots of fun to run once you are familiarized with the book. Okay, the Glyph Systems toolbox approach lets GMs tweak, hack content and mechanics as they see fit. So very flexible in that regard. And most notably, the token functions similar to an oracle. And what that does, it allows GMs to generate content on the fly based on the context of the situation. And we'll get into that in the book. I tell folks that mastering the token can be sort of similar to learning a new language that's based on symbols. And it does look like a lot to take in at first. Well, to be honest, it is quite a lot. Glyphs is a very flexible system, and it's universal, so there's so many variables to consider and in this particular game than a predefined setting and content like other game shoes that we're all used to. Secondly, I've noticed that the very concept of a GM interpreting symbols in an Oracle-style fashion can seem a little alien to some people. And Glyphs definitely embraces a randomized approach to content creation, and you'll see that evident throughout the book. There are just a few quick things that I'd like to ask of you. Number one, make sure to read the blueprint in its entirety. So with the exception of the default content and numerical values and all the minutiae you may see, don't just skim over it like some people are doing, or you will be lost. Take your time and absorb the book, but don't necessarily obsess about memorizing every single thing in there. Okay, it's a lot. You want to be familiar with mechanics and a lot of the content in the blueprint, but basically it's meant to be more of a reference guide. That's why I call it the Glyphs RPG Blueprint. Also, please don't jump to any conclusions based on other games you may have played or try to compare it to other games. It's a totally different animal. The blueprint is intentionally laid out in such a way that requires it to be read before you actually grasp its core mechanics. Okay, and that's intentional. Okay, I want all the GMs out there playing Glyphs and their gamers to have a full understanding of the game, as opposed to a mere general understanding. So in the end, the reasoning is this translates to a much smoother gameplay experience. Okay, so for your convenience, there is a Glyphs Lite reference sheet that does have the core rules on it, but honestly, it ain't going to do you a whole lot of good until you grasp the fundamentals in the book. Now, you'll notice on the table of contents that the first half of the book mostly applies to players, and the second half applies to GMs. So I tried to split things up a little bit to make it easy for you. Okay. Second thing I'd like to recommend is practice does make perfect, especially with Glyphs. All flexibility issues aside, it is intended to be a game of skill. So make sure to practice your token slides and familiarize yourself with the token system itself. GM should be comfortable interpreting the token's glyphs in a variety of contexts, so practice a little bit with the meanings. And reference material is available out there on our site to help facilitate this for you. So experiment and have fun with the game. That's all I can say. Okay, one last request that I'd like to make. If you're going to review the game, then review the game. Okay, please do your due diligence and read the book. Create a little bit of content using the rules and the suggestions in the book, and play the game if you want us to take your feedback seriously. Okay, Glyphs has been scrutinized by respected professionals in the RPG industry, both before and after its release, and it's endured years of agonizing development hell, if I may say so myself, and a few post-production challenges. Mostly technical in nature after its release, but it's actually become a very fun, innovative, and robust system in its own right, if I may say so. Now, if you're a professional review outlet and you wish to review the game professionally, then please contact us so we can have the necessary materials out to you. So, having said that, the Glyphs RPG Blueprint is available as a free download at glyphsrpg.com. All necessary resources, as well as character creation steps, can be found on the website Sheets and Resources page. Now, additionally, players and collectors can purchase an optional game board, GM screens, and other accessories if that's what you would like, and we would certainly recommend doing so. In the meantime, please read the blueprint and use the video tutorials on the website as a source of reference. Now, if I happen to be in your area, I do personally conduct Glyphs Game Master workshops for training purposes. Now, I do that because I recognize that Glyphs is an entirely new RPG approach, and it does require some extra resources, in some cases to make second nature to some folks. And if that means I have to work a little bit harder, then so be it. Now, if you have any questions or feedback to provide, then please email my office at admin@glyphsrpg.com. And we are pretty good around here about responding in a very timely manner. Cheers.